Hey guys, it's December the 10th, 2025, and I hope everybody's been having a wonderful day out there today. It is a beautiful day here in South Carolina. There is not a cloud in the sky, as you can see behind me. It's like the sky's so blue, it's almost purple, and the sun's out. It's a warm day. I mean, it's not like warm, but it's warm, versus what it's been for the past 2 weeks. It's just a beautiful day out here, and this morning I got up first thing, hopped on my tractor and jumped on our driveway, and I've been on that all day long. It's almost 3 o'clock in the afternoon right now, and I just finished just about 30 minutes ago or something like that. I came straight in, took a shower, and then came out here to sit down and film today's video. But it was a really nice morning today. I enjoyed myself being out in the sun. I really do feel like, just getting outside into nature, getting out into the sun at least once every single day. If you can't spend a lot of time out there, I totally get it. And if it's not sunny, I totally get that too. But if it's a sunny day outside, it's so important to try to at least get out there and just get into the sunlight for 20 minutes, 30 minutes or something like that. It improves your mood so much. I've spoken about this, but when I was on bed rest or bedridden, when I was sick, the second time I'd gotten out of the hospital, I laid in the bed for like 3 straight months. That first month or so, I really couldn't get up and do anything. And the depression, it just started getting so dark. And finally, about a month in, I decided to, get myself up, get my walker out, and I started getting out onto the porch and just sitting on the porch in the sunlight in the mornings. I would take my shirt off and try to absorb as much sun as I could. And it was like, as soon as I did that, my mood started going like this. Everything started to improve for me. My health started to improve. I started feeling a little bit better. The ascites started to kind of slowly but surely go away. But, it wasn't just the fact that I was, sitting on my back porch as well. After a while, like I said, about 3 months into it, I finally was able to get up and start doing some things. And, just getting up and going outside. And I was just picking up pine cones. But, the simple act of getting up and just walking around and doing a little bit of exercise helped me so much with my ascites. And for any of you guys out there who are dealing with ascites right now, I know how hard it is to get up and do anything. I truly do. You've got all that weight in your belly from all that fluid. It's pulling on your lower back, so it's making you kind of hunch over because there's so much fluid in there. I know. And it's almost impossible to get up and walk around. You don't want to do it. You feel horrible. You're fatigued out of your mind. But if you get up and at least try to walk around for, like I said, 15, 20 minutes every single day, it will definitely make you feel better. And it helps to get that fluid off your belly. If you're just laying in the bed all day, every day, you're not doing much to get that fluid off. I mean, I'm sure you're probably taking medication, but just a simple act of getting up and doing a little bit, moving around, it really does help to get that fluid off. And I was able to get the fluid off of myself twice. I did have some medication, but I wasn't getting paracentesis. I just was doing what I had to do to get the fluid off, watching my sodium, 1,000 milligrams or less every day, less than 2 liters of fluid every single day that I consumed. There's just a bunch of little things I did. But like I said, for any of you guys that are suffering with ascites, try your best to get outside and get a little bit of exercise in. It really does help to get that fluid off. But anyway, I'm sorry that I went on that tangent this morning or this afternoon already. But what I wanted to talk about today is something that I was thinking about while I was out on my tractor today. When I'm working on my tractor, I mean, it's pretty simple work. It doesn't take a lot of thought to do what I'm doing on the tractor, so it gives me an opportunity to really think while I'm doing it. And today, I spent a lot of time thinking while I was on the tractor and just thinking about, all sorts of different things. And while I was on the tractor, I really started starting to play my life backwards. just remembering a lot of things, thinking about what led me to where I am today. Different decisions that I made down the road, you know what I'm talking about when you get to that crossroads in life and you have a decision to make. If you go this way, this might happen. If you go this way, and then you make that decision, and maybe it turned out the way you wanted it to, maybe it didn't. But we all remember those moments in our life, especially when we hit that crossroads and we made the right call, and our life turned out for the better because of that decision. But like I said, I was just thinking about all these different things that happened in my life and, what led me to where I'm at right now. And I know what it was. There was a lot of depression, a lot of anxiety. I didn't like my job. I was always at work. There started to be some resentment because of it. There were a lot of things that led me to drink the way that I did. And I wish that I had addressed some of them at least, but I didn't. It was always this idea of tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm going to get sober. Tomorrow I'm going to do this. Tomorrow I'm going to stop smoking cigarettes. Tomorrow I'll stop drinking liquor and only drink beer. Tomorrow I'll take care of that, whatever needs to get done. Tomorrow I'll fix those stairs. Tomorrow, everything was always tomorrow. My whole life had become tomorrow. And that was my excuse for everything. Anytime that anybody asked anything from me, it was, I'll do it tomorrow. I can't do it today. I'll have to do it tomorrow. It was just always tomorrow. Everything was always tomorrow. And I wish that I had made a different decision. The problem is with the whole, I'll do it tomorrow thing is that tomorrow never came. Tomorrow never showed up. So my whole life became these excuses of I'll do it tomorrow. And like I said, tomorrow never came, and that continued to add up and add up and add up and add up. And before you know it, a whole decade had gone by. And then another decade had gone by. And before you know it, I'd been drinking like that for 2 decades. And looking back, there were so many times that I could have made that decision to stop drinking. There were so many times that I had made that decision to stop drinking, got sober for 2-3 days or a week. There was one time I got sober for 2 weeks. If I had just stayed sober, would I have been in the situation I'm in right now? I don't know. But the problem is that all that time is gone, and there's not a thing I can do to change any of that. I can't go back in time. I don't have a time machine. And, sitting back and beating myself up about it every single day isn't going to do me any good. I faced the reality of the decisions that I made. I know that I caused these problems to myself. I know that I put myself in the position that I'm in right now. It was my decision to pick that bottle up every single day and pour those glasses. It was my decision to fill a 32-ounce Yeti cup almost all the way up to the top with liquor every single day and drink multiple of those. Those were all my decisions. It was my decision, to walk around with a couple of shots of Fireball in my pocket at any given moment because I couldn't, be 5 feet away from my alcohol. It had to be with me at every single step I made because it made me nervous if I didn't have it with me. I felt like something might go wrong. I felt like I might go into withdrawals or something like that. I just always felt like I had to have alcohol with me. It was just a bunch of bad decisions, one after another. And like I said, I kept telling myself tomorrow, I'm going to get sober tomorrow. I'm going to fix my life tomorrow. I'm going to fix my marriage tomorrow. I'm going to be a better dad tomorrow. I'm going to be a better anything. I'm going to be a better chef tomorrow. And like I said, tomorrow never came. And there's nothing I can do about any of that now. But what I can do is I can talk to you guys. And hopefully by sharing my story and talking about the experiences that I've been through and the bad decisions that I made and the times that I should have either gotten or stayed sober, I can talk about all of those experiences. And like I said, share them with all of you. In hopes that by sharing this that, one of you, maybe 2, 3, maybe all of you decide to make that decision or continue to stay sober. And, if you're getting those thoughts in your head, like, maybe this Friday I can have a drink. I'll have just a 6-pack of Budweiser, playing around with those ideas in your head. It never works out. It just never works out. I was just talking with one of the subscribers in the comments yesterday, and they were talking about how they relapsed, and it was all because of an idea of, I'm just going to have a beer. What's it going to hurt? And that one beer turned into, a week-long relapse, however long it was. I'm not exactly sure, but it wasn't one day. And all it was the idea of having one beer. That's why I say all the time, we just can't have any. It's either all or nothing. That one beer or one wine or one shot or whatever it is always turns into hundreds of drinks. And, time passed and more damage to the body and more damage to our relationships with our friends and family. But what I really was thinking about today and what I wanted to talk about in today's video, and I know I've already covered a whole bunch, but like I said, one of the biggest things I was thinking about today when I was on the tractor is something I wanted to talk to you guys about. And this really goes for, and this could go for anybody, honestly, what I'm going to be discussing. It could be, even if you don't have a problem with alcohol, this could go for you. If you don't have a problem with any substance, this could go for you as well, what I'm going to be discussing. But, more or less, this message really is out for those people that are still on the fence. Maybe you're watching videos about sobriety and, it's something that you really would like to do for Christmas time. Maybe you want to tell your spouse that, you have secretly gotten sober for the past couple of weeks and that's the Christmas gift you want to give them. Or maybe you're thinking about, for your new year, getting sober, which a lot of people do. This is what I wanted to talk about today, is that I really want you to take your life and think about it like it's a movie or a novel, a story. And you're the main character in this story. You're the main character in this movie. How do you want it to turn out? The ball is in your court. It's your decision. If you've ever read one of those books, I don't know if they make them anymore. When I was a kid, they used to have them, but it was like those decision books. You get to like page 10 and, Johnny's the main character of the story, and you get to that final page and there's like 3 decisions that you can make. Johnny gets to a bridge. Johnny can either cross the bridge A, Johnny can turn around and go back the other way B, or, Johnny can jump off the side of the cliff C. And you get to make your decision, and then you flip to whatever page it is based on the decision that you make. This could be the idea for your life. Think of your life like one of those books, and you get to make a decision anytime that you get to those crossroads. And those crossroads, like the decisions in the book, could be when you're on your way home from work. And I know I talk about this all the time, but this is one of the times that was the hardest for me, staying sober. And I know it sounds crazy, but every day when I would get off work and drive home, just the thought of not having a drink after I got off of work, it drove me crazy. And I would pull into the gas station and, sit in the parking lot and contemplate about it and, think, should I get it? Should I not? And I always went in there and bought it anyway. But those are the times, those are those places I'm talking about, those bookmarks in the book where you have a decision to make. Think of yourself like the main character in a movie or the main character in this book. And when you get to those places, you have a choice to make. You can decide to buy that beer and make that choice A, or you can make choice B and go home, straight home, and not drink that night and stay sober. I don't know what choice C would be. It could be whatever, but I'm just saying, if there's 2 choices, A, buy the beer, or B, don't buy the beer and go straight home. Make that choice not to drink. Make whatever choice it is in your life that is the right decision to make. Make that call. We know the difference between right and wrong, and we know what the right decision is to make. And if anything else, if you don't know what decision to make, go with what your gut tells you. Your gut doesn't lie to you. I talk about this all the time, but any time I make a decision, going against what my gut's telling me, it always ends up being the wrong choice. I always end up kicking myself in the butt later on down the road and going, I should have went with my gut. So wherever you're at, and whatever these decisions are, and if you don't know exactly where to go, just go with what your gut tells you. And it's usually going to lead you the right direction. But we get placed in these crossroads where we have to make a decision, and you are that main character in that movie or in that book. And you know exactly what's going to happen if you choose to go without alcohol. You know what's going to happen if you choose not to drink. But I'll tell you what, the story that's going to end up the end of the story after making those decisions not to drink is going to be a much better story than if you decide to drink. And I was thinking about this morning as well, about just how short our lives are, because they are. I'm 46 years old. It's like, I think about this all the time, but I feel like I was just a teenager, like just a couple years ago. Like, it doesn't feel that long ago. Like, I remember having my daughter like it was yesterday. She's 21 years old now. My kids are all they're all growing up. My oldest son, he's going on 16. I mean, he just turned 15 in August, and then my youngest son, he's about to be 12. I mean, they're growing so fast. Time's going by so quick. I mean, it really does feel like it was just yesterday that I ended up in the hospital for the first time. It does not feel like I've been sober for 3.5 years. It does not. Time has flown by so quick. And, like I said, that always is going to be tomorrow. That could go on for years. And, I talk about this all the time, but there was a decade that I do not remember. Right before I got sick, that 10 years leading up before I got sick, I don't remember much from it. I was so intoxicated during that decade. And I kept making that decision over and over and over again. Tomorrow I'll get sober. Tomorrow I'm going to do this. Tomorrow I'm going to get my life straight. Tomorrow I'm going to get sober. And tomorrow never came. And like I said, 10 years just went by. And before you know it, I'm laying on the hospital gurney, puking up blood all over myself. And I didn't even know how I got there. How did I end up here? I'm only 42 years old. How am I laying here about to die from drinking? How is this even possible? I couldn't understand it. I thought that people that got cirrhosis and got sick from drinking were old homeless men that had the fingers cut out of their gloves and they lived underneath a bridge, not people that are 42. Not people that are 42 and, have a family and work for a living. What's going on here? This can't be right. Well, it was true. And it was because I kept putting everything off and saying, until tomorrow, I'll do it tomorrow. And I never made the right decision. I got placed in those positions. I was the main actor in my movie. And every single time that I hit those crossroads, those places in the book where I had to make a call, I always made the wrong choice. Every single time. I went against my gut. I went with a decision that I knew was not the right decision. And look where it led me. It led me to almost losing my life. It led me to worrying every single day. Is today going to be the day? What's going to happen? When you've woken up in the morning and just started puking up blood for no reason, and then all of a sudden you go to the hospital and find you have varices that have burst inside of you, and you've actually been bleeding internally for a week or two, and you didn't even know it, and your hemoglobin's 4 or whatever it is, and they're like looking at you like they don't even understand how you're even sitting there awake. It's those kinds of moments where you're just like, what in the world? I made all the wrong decisions, and my movie ended me up here. Like I said, I have to worry about every single day. Is tomorrow going to be the day? Is today going to be the day when I just start bleeding internally and don't even know it for no reason whatsoever other than, my portal hypertension got so high that one of my veins just burst. It could be any day. Any day. When I've gotten sick in the past and that happened, it was just a regular day, just like any other day. I didn't even have any, there wasn't any lead up to it. It's like I got any hints that I was about to get sick. Just next thing you know, I was sick. And I worry about that all the time. Am I going to be able to do that little trip with my son that I said I was going to take him on? Or am I going to end up in the hospital? There's a constant fear there. And my point to today's video is that you're living your story right now. You are the main character in your story right now. You can make whatever decision that you want to make. You can make this story end up however you want it to end. Now, I want to preface it with this, though, and just say that, if you've already ended up sick, and you've already got liver disease and things like that. I mean, there's nothing you can do about it at this point. But the story does continue. You're still here, right? Your movie's not over yet. You can still make the right choice. You can decide not to drink anymore and not cause any more damage to your liver, and live as long as you possibly can and create as many memories with your loved ones as you can. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to make as many memories as I possibly can with my family and my friends right now. I don't want to leave this earth with the memories and what people think of me from before. I want to change the perception of the way that people think about me. There's people I haven't seen in years, people that I want to see before I leave this planet, and just let them know that I finally stopped drinking. I'm not that guy anymore. I want to leave this planet with my kids proud of me, and my mom and my dad proud of me, and my wife proud of me, and knowing that I tried as hard as I possibly could to turn it all around. That I took control of my movie. I took control of my story. And once again, that's the point of today's video. Take control of your story. Take control of your movie. This is your life, and you are the main character in this, and you get to decide how this story ends. Yes, there are some things that we just can't change, but we just have to accept that. And there's things that are going to happen that we cannot control. But there are certain aspects of our life that we can. And one of the aspects that we can control is we can decide every single day to either pick that alcohol up or not pick it up. You can decide to leave it there or pick it up and drink it. And for today, in today's chapter of the book, let's end today's chapter not drinking. Let's end today's chapter sober, because we truly do have the opportunity to make the decision to not drink. We have that choice. And once again, let's make that choice today to stay sober. One more day, guys. Let's not worry about tomorrow. Let's not worry about next week. Let's not worry about Christmas. Let's not worry about what you're going to do on New Year's Eve when you have to go to your family's house. Everybody's going to be drinking, and how are you going to deal with it since you've gotten sober? Just cross that bridge when you get there. You might not even go to the party that night. Something might come up and you might not be able to go. Just worry about that when it comes. But let's just worry about today, right now, in this moment. Today, we will stay sober. At the end of today's chapter in our story, we will stay sober. We have the choice. It's in our hands. I want to end today's video really quick. There's a quote, and I'm pretty sure this is Shawshank Redemption that it comes from. I'm pretty sure that's what movie it comes from. I should have looked this up, but I just thought about it when I was talking, and it's I'm pretty sure it's that movie, but it's either get busy living or get busy dying. Let's choose to get busy living. We truly do have the choice in our hands. It's one of the biggest choices that we have, and that's to either use or not, drink or not, do whatever the activity is or not. Or, like I said, this could be for anything in your life. You could be, maybe thinking about making a decision to leave your career and go do another one, something that you really love. Or maybe you've been thinking about starting that new business. You've got some great business idea and you've been rolling around in your head for the past decade. Don't be like I was and put everything off and say, I'm going to do it tomorrow. Start today. You know what the right decision is to make. If it's that business decision and you don't know what to do with it, life is so short. It is so short. Do you want to be laying there at 80 years old going all the what ifs, all the things I should have done? You don't want to do that. There will be a lot of regrets one day. Do what it is that you want to do. Do the things that make you happy. And maybe that'll make you feel more comfortable in your sober life too, when you've made those decisions that are for you. What's going to make you happy? Where do you want your life to go? How do you want this story to end? How do you want the story to play out? Our lives are so short. It really is like the drop of a hat. I mean, it is that fast. You blink and next thing you know, you're 50 years old and where did my life go? Every day we have these choices, decisions, crossroads that we get to, and we get to make the decision on where we end up. And like I said, Let's let today's story end the way that we want to. Make those decisions in your life that are going to benefit you. Make the decisions in your life that you know are best for you. And before I get off of here, I just want to say that if you are thinking about getting sober, if that's the story that you want to, you want your story to become that, is that you get sober, and you haven't gotten sober yet, and you've been drinking for any length of time. Before you attempt to get sober, please do me a favor and just speak with a doctor first. Let them give you the A-OK to go forward with this. Quitting alcohol or benzodiazepines abruptly can be life-threatening. So just be careful, talk with the doctor, just tell them the truth. And after you've done that and you got the A-OK, make that decision. Don't end up like I did. Don't keep putting things off and saying, I'll do it tomorrow, and the next thing you know, 10 years of your life has gone by and you don't know where it's gone. And that's 10 years with the damage that's happened to your liver, 10 years with the damage to your kidneys, 10 years with the damage to your pancreas, 10 years with the damage to your brain, 10 years of damage to your heart. I've spoken to quite a few people here recently that have talked to me about the problems that they've had from alcohol to their brain. Like, they've had some serious mental problems or mental issues, like brain problems, because of their drinking, which is another thing that happens when you drink. It doesn't happen to everybody, but it can. And the people that I've spoken to say it's devastating when it happens. 10 years more of damage to your brain. You don't want to end up with brain issues because of this. I can promise you that. If there's one organ that we definitely want to keep running well, it's our brain. Because without that, we have nothing. If you can't think for yourself, do the things that you want to do for yourself, it's going to be a hard life. Once again, you have the decision. You have the choice in your hands. In the story, in your movie, the way that you want to. Not the way that somebody else does, but the way that you want to. Really think hard about what you want your life to turn out to be. I know how I want mine to be. With that said, guys, I'm going to hop off of here. Thank you so much for watching today. I truly do appreciate it. And until tomorrow, I will see you guys then. I hope that everybody makes that decision to stay sober today. I love you guys so much. Bye.